Ok.
Perfetto, cominciamo con Mediaset, qua di fronte.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Good morning.
Hi. Good morning, coach.
Lei è avvezzo, diciamo, a navigazione.
You are used to important matches. Is this probably the most difficult sailing that you remember? And perhaps how can you find the horizon line after these big waves from the last days? Because obviously getting through to the final stage is very important for Napoli. I always start from the fact that things can always get worse, but we have to be optimistic.
Cioè non puoi prevedere se c'è una situazione ancora peggiore.
You don't know, or guess that there might be even worse times. I thought that we are seeing the worst of it in December.
Di un giocatore che
And when I was mentioning about our player that he was becoming very important for us, like David Neres, I said, let's hope nothing is going to happen. And then yesterday, he underwent surgery.
uno deve essere ottimista.
When someone needs to be optimistic, must always hope that the things can get better, but at the same time must be prepared to the worst.
Il nostro compito è questo.
Our task is to try and be ready when the things not going the right way.
Quando il vento,
Because when the wind blows in the right direction, sailing is easy for everybody. The problem is when the winds blow into your direction and the waves are very high. At that point, you have to be very good, because at the end of the day, we have a group of players.
di navigazione dei marinai.
We have a group of sailors, if you want to stick to the Navy language, a group of players that believe in what we do, and they have to be ready to do our best and go ahead.
Quello che posso dire, ecco, io
What I can say is that I can't say any bad thing about my players because they've been given everything. Probably if we lack something, but I don't want to look back. Perhaps that match against Copenhagen, I think we had that opportunity to fix the situation in the league, and in that moment we weren't good enough. Now we have this game against Chelsea. We're going to face a top side, the Club World Cup champions. I know this club really well. I know what their vision is, the sort of investments that they made, the sort of ambition they have, and we have to play for everything, knowing that we also have a strong ally, which is the Stadio Maradona.
non dobbiamo sottovalutare
And we shouldn't underestimate the impact.
che domani
And all our fans know that tomorrow, beyond the results, we have to be decisive, because we know what it means playing in this stadium with the support of our crowd.
sarebbe bello vedere con onda azzurra.
And it would be to see a big blue wave tomorrow that's going to push us to our target.
Morale, questa domanda sono costretto mio malgrado a tornare.
I had to go back to Sundays. Spalletti, after the game, mentioned Napoli as the former champions of Italy. So do you still feel like being the champions of Italy at the moment? No, not just to get back at Spalletti, but more to understand what kind of mentality will you playing tomorrow? And against the Chelsea team that, as with Spalletti would put it, is the former world champion. To be honest, after the match, I prefer switch off completely. I'm not gonna read what the other manager says, or I'm gonna read other things. You're telling me these for the first team. So he mentioned that they beat the former champions of Italy. I don't think that.
Una
Frase felice.
sì, una frase.
I don't think that's a nice thing to say. It's a very happy thing to say because we still got the Scudetto on our jersey. I would have never said something like that to another team. You're telling me this now, and I'm obviously a little bit sorry because I think Spalletti is a great coach, but he has to be careful when he speaks.
Non può dire una cosa del genere.
He can't say a thing like that because at the end of the day, there are still 16 games to be played. And if he thinks that we are that bad at this point of the season, if he thinks that he has tear the Scudetto from our shirt,
Quindi bisogna avere comunque
we've done a lot to get that Scudetto, and then we expect respect from him. So good luck to him.
Salve. No, vorrei chiedere, fermo restando che Lukaku quindi è appena rientrato.
Lukaku is just back and perhaps he can't play the whole 90 minutes. So the solution of two strikers in front is something that you would like in considering or not yet? I can consider many different options, and in my head there are many more different solutions. Because we lost Neres, we lost a bit of creativity with him.
di mercato.
Now we need to understand if in the market transfer we're going to be able to find an element of creativity.
Deve saltare l'uomo se questo non dovesse accadere.
And if that is not going to happen, of course, getting Lukaku back in the team is going to be very helpful, but he needs to be 100% ready, and he's not there. I gave him a few minutes against Juventus, and he still can't express his maximum strength. You need to understand that
Un distaccamento
he had an hamstring serious injury. It's not something easy to recover from.
Cioè questo ragazzo è arrivato questo calciatore poi
Now we call him Joe.
può essere un po'
Calling Giovanni young we find a compromise, so we call him Giovanni, because he's a player that of course can help us both as a trequartista, even though when in Verona he was playing more as a second striker. When we will get Anguissa back, which again, we thought it was going to be sooner, but the time of injury is extended for a problem at the back.
però bisogna avere poi i giocatori.
I've got the ideas, but at the end of the day, you still need the players.
Sai, oggi noi siamo gli stessi di quelli.
We still the same team that we had just before Juventus. The same players that we had just before Sassuolo. So it's always the same group of players.
Perché qualcuno dall'infermeria
So let's hope that someone from
dopo l'operazione
will come back from the injuries. Let's hope maybe Gilmour or Frank Anguissa. But then of course Rrahmani is it's a small thing, and Politano who had additional muscle injury.
Salve mister. Innanzitutto, mentre lei stava entrando,
What you were getting? You were touching your leg. Is everything okay?
parlando del momento critico,
Talking about this critical point about the injuries.
questo è il periodo
Can it be the most difficult moment in a team since started coaching? And how do you explain that?
guarda, penso di avere la giusta esperienza.
I think I've got enough experience
sicuramente quello che è accaduto.
from my coaching career. And to be honest, what happened this season is really hard to explain.
Ogni anno comunque, se uno va a vedere,
Every year, if you look back and for every Italian teams, every European teams, there's always going to be injuries. Usually they are muscle injuries, and perhaps in 2-3 weeks maximum Monday you will see the players back. But see this level of injuries so serious that require surgery.
lì quello è difficile da spiegare.
That's very much difficult to explain.
Essere più fortunati.
Because that is probably down to luck.
Lukaku,
And the fact that Lukaku has been out for 6 months, the brain 5-6 months. Gilmour has surgery now. Neres
era il calciatore che speravamo.
was one of the players that we were hoping to have healthy for the rest of the season. He went surgery at his ankle. Same with Anguissa when he went away for the international break and came back when injured. I can lose a lot of energies. I can cry. I can complain.
Io mi devo concentrare bene su.
But I have to focus on the players that I have and find the right solution. But again, I will challenge anyone to bring another team that had all these problems, and we just halfway the season, so fingers crossed, because you never know what could happen. You know, we started the season talking about the emergency and say, well, we will finish at some point, but it just go worse and worse and worse.
Abbiamo vinto una Supercoppa, non dimentichiamo.
But despite that, even in emergency time, we still managed to win a Super Cup against Inter Bologna. So, you know, we should not forget that, because at the end of the day, you know, if you look at the table and if you only look at the results, but we don't look at the players we're using. So if we go back a couple of months, with this group of players, people will say you will have no chance to go far, but we're still there. We keep fighting, we keep the head up, giving everything, including the match that we had in Sunday. And I think the result is probably too harsh, but we take this bad defeat. I don't think they dominated the match. I don't think there's been a team this season that dominated us. And I think it's what is we're working at the moment. And we're trying to keep our head up and make our fans proud, because we don't fear anybody. Because you know, if you give everything, when you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror and you're happy to look at your face. But when you start having fear or looking for alibis,
Scuse,
and any sort of excuses that you don't not giving everything, you don't want to look in the mirror very much. But we've been looking at ourselves in the mirror, and we will keep doing that throughout the season, and we'll see if our fans will appreciate that.
deve riconoscere.
Because at the end of the day, is the fan that needs to look into this team and recognize. So the last two questions.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You won the Premier League with Chelsea. Then you left. 8 years on, 8 managers on. They're not competing anymore for the Premier League. You say you know the vision of the new ownership. What is the vision of the new ownership, in your opinion? A very, very young head coach these days as well.
Yeah, but when I arrived in Chelsea, and I was the Chelsea coach, if you remember, I arrived after 10th place in the previous season, and we won the league. We finished to play the final in FA Cup against Arsenal, and next season we won the FA Cup. First of all, I want to tell thanks to Mr. Abramovich, and because with Marina they gave me the opportunity to have my first experience abroad, and it was a great experience because we are talking about a fantastic club with a great vision, with you breathe the mentality, the winning mentality, and now Chelsea is continuing to have the same mentality, the same desire to win. I saw that they made a great investment. They signed important players, young players, but sometimes there is the situation that people speak about the difference, no, old player and a young player. Yeah, I think everyone, every coach wants to sign young players, but if a young players pays 60, 70, 80, 120 millions like Caicedo or 130 million like Fernandez, is not for all the club, especially in Italy. But they are doing very well. I think that they are building something important for the future, and I'm happy for all Chelsea fan.
The Athletic?
Mister, sono qui. James Horncastle su The Athletic. Posso chiederle un commento?
Can I ask you your comment in the tendency in the Premier League that the set pieces are more and more important? That you see less goals from open play?
Qual è dietro questa tendenza?
So what's behind this new tendency, in your opinion?
Sì, in italiano.
È la dimostrazione quando
It's the proof that when people say football is always the same, football is never the same. There is a rapid evolution, and if you don't keep up with the pace, you will stay behind. Look at the role of the goalkeeper now.
portiere, non solo si è bravo.
You need a goalkeeper that has to be very good with his feet, but also in terms of pressing, in terms of shooting too far distance before you had the ball. I'm gonna wait in my half. I have my defensive play, and then I will try and find a counter attack and score a goal. So there was some sort of division of roles and tasks. Now you don't have that anymore because the main goal is trying to dominate the game, trying and keep the possession of the ball. If you have the ball, I'm not gonna wait for you to lose it, or I'm trying to play in between lines. I come into your half to get the ball away from you.
Nell'ambito.
And I think this has changed a lot in football. The number of goals for through pressing increased a lot. And then, of course, when you play a weaker side, that obviously they don't want to give you too much space, too much pitch. So you have to be good when you play against these sides to find different alternatives, trying and make the most of your creative players. Today, through corners or set pieces, you have teams like Arsenal that is dominating. And they are very good, and they set an example.
Si sta guardando.
Because obviously every other team, every other club look at them. Today, every players that can, with a throw-in, get very far into the goal. It gives you like a corner for every throw-in. So, as I was saying before, football keeps evolving, and our coaches, we have to be very good. That we are in the market transfer. We need to explain why we ask for specific players to perhaps people that don't understand much about our work. And that is, if you say like in England, every throw-in, every corner kick, or every set piece is a potential for goal. I think I'm doing a lesson now. That's the reason why you need to have a well-structured players. But if you then have like players that are too sure, whether you do an active play or a passive play, you will pay that situation. That explains how the football keeps changing. How important for you is to keep updating yourself, keep learning to capture the positive things if you want to stay on top in football. But if you want to be an average coach, you still with your ideas, because you won before, you keep reproposing the same ideas. But if you want to be among the best, you need to keep studying, upskill yourself, capture the most positive things that are in the world.
Hi, Antonio. I just wanted to ask if you'd seen Diogo Costa's comments about you last week and what you made of them.
Well, honestly, and I don't follow. Honestly, I'm not a person that lose energy reading what the people say on the paper. You understand? Also because I know very well that around the football there are intelligent people, clever people, stupid people, and I don't lose my time to spend my time to read intelligent people or stupid people. You understand? Diogo Costa played with me one season. I can speak about the football, and I think we won together the league. And then I wanted to go away for 3 times in the same season, and I know this, only this. Then he had after Chelsea. I don't know what happened to him. Grazie.